This is Interbeing, Held in Belonging.
I just remember communicating to this being, I'm not ready yet. And as soon as I communicated that, I stopped travelling forward and I began to reverse back down the tunnel. I was covered in sweat and had a bit of a fever going on.
Welcome. Take a slow breath with me and gently step out of the pace of the world. Let the mind soften just a little. Let the body arrive right here. There are moments where something in us begins to sense that reality is deeper than what we've been taught to see. Not through thinking, but through a quiet knowing. A feeling that beneath the surface of things, beneath the rolls, the noise, the constant movement, there is something steady, something aware, something that has always been here. And every so often, something opens, just enough to remind us. Not because it was ever gone, but because we had forgotten how to notice it. Across cultures, across time, this has been pointed to in different ways. A deeper layer of consciousness, a quiet thread of connection, something that does not stand apart from the world around us, but moves through all of it. Something we don't need to find, only remember. In this episode, Dr. Natasha Tassell-Matamua is an independent researcher whose work explores near-death experiences and non-ordinary states of consciousness. Her work is also shaped by indigenous perspectives and cross-cultural ways of knowing, bringing a deeply integrative lens to questions of consciousness, connection, and human experience. This isn't something to figure out, it's something to feel. So as you listen, see if you can let go of the need to understand everything, and instead, just notice what resonates. Notice what feels familiar, even if you can't explain why. I'm your host, just a grateful guy, welcoming you to the quiet beneath the noise, where nothing new is being given to you, only something timeless being remembered in what you already are.
I would have been 18 at the time. I remember feeling really unwell and I thought I have to go and lie down. So I lay down on my bed. So I obviously lost consciousness, but I remember feeling like some conscious aspect of me was travelling really, really fast through what felt like a tunnel. And I remember sort of looking down the tunnel and seeing this light, and in the light I could see a silhouette of a being, and I just kept travelling towards this being. I just remember communicating to this being, look, I'm not ready yet. And as soon as I communicated that, I stopped travelling forward and I began to reverse back down the tunnel, just being back in my body and sort of waking up. And, I was covered in sweat and had a bit of a fever going on. But I sort of didn't care because I was so intrigued by what had just happened to me. I had, at the time, absolutely no explanation. I'd never heard of a near-death experience before. But all I knew within every cell of my body was that what just happened was really real to me. And that was the experience.
Yeah, it's interesting how you encounter this being at the end of the tunnel. What meaning does that give to you now?
I communicated to this being. In that moment, I felt I knew who or what the being was, and there was something in me that felt the need to communicate that message. In the moment of the experience, I felt that there was some connection and some conscious awareness of who the being was. Maybe that being is a reflection of me. And I don't mean me as in Natasha, the personality that's talking to you now, but maybe the being is a reflection of a deeper or even higher aspect of me or that I'm a part of. And that's why there was that sense of familiarity, because I could see myself in the being, not physically or visually see, but there was some energetic component that resonated. And the being was, I believe now, and I guess the meaning I take from it is that I needed to have that experience as part of my own spiritual development. There was some connection between me, Natasha, and the being that was familiar and, in some sense, I guess, comforting, and was able to respond, was responsive to me in that moment.
If you could remove all the conceptual framework, what was that experience like?
It's hard to remove all the conditioning and the filters, but I think energetically there was no physicality. So there was definitely a sense of lightness, but speed with that light. I felt connected to that being. I think it was some sort of energetic connection to that being for me to be able to feel that sense of familiarity and sort of reflection, like the being was reflecting something very familiar back to me.
Across the near-death experiences you've studied, what continues to appear that cannot easily be explained away in these experiences?
I think in terms of the actual experience, the fact that people see beings or describe people or spiritual beings that they didn't necessarily know, but that have some connection to them, to the point where a member of their family, when they come back and describe the person, a member of their family can recognize them, recognize who they're talking about. In terms of the after effects, the fact that people can really lose a fear of death immediately.
Is that a common feature in near-death experiences, where people have a conscious choice to stay or to return?
Yeah, it is. It is quite common, and a lot of people will say that they, a being appeared and gave them a choice, or others will just feel like that there's a boundary, and it may be to them what appears to be a visual boundary, like a river or something, and they just have this understanding that, oh well, if they cross the river, then that's it. So it is really common to have that choice. It often manifests as being told directly, you can come or not, it's up to you. Or some people are just told, no, it's not your time. So there's that sort of, I guess, direct communication with beings, or there's just a sense that they can't go any further. So yeah, very, very common.
And near-death experiences start to give us a glimpse of what death might actually be.
Death is just a transition. There's something core within us that transitions on.
What is that core element that continues? And can we experience it now?
Well, I think consciousness. There's something conscious, so we can have that awareness as we transition from this physical realm. Indigenous peoples and Māori culture, which is the culture that I am affiliated with, we'd use the word wairua to talk about that essence of what continues on. And when we die, the physical body stays, but the wairua journeys on. But I think for me, having an awareness, or perhaps a belief that there's something else other than just physical and intellectual, cognitive me. There's something beyond the brain as the seat of my experience, and the physical body as the seat of my experience. And I think it's possible to experience wairua every day, in any moment. I often use the example of gardening. I do a lot of gardening, and I feel that in my gardening I connect with the plants, and to me that's a wairua connection. I think all living beings also have that same inherent thing, wairua consciousness within them. And I think we are able to experience or feel that our deep, eternal essence in those interactions with other beings when we allow ourselves to. I think we can experience it in our everyday interactions when we have an awareness of it. Because I think if you're not always aware, then the connection that you may be feeling could be interpreted as something else. When you allow yourself to feel it or to continually go out and connect, then you understand that the connection you're having is something that's beyond the physical realm. It's something that's that deep sense of wairua.
What allows us to actually feel that connection more deeply?
I think compassion. Maybe compassion is the key connection. Compassion encompasses love and care and wisdom. I think that's the key point where connections can be made. I think about me in my garden with my plants, that relation, it's a relationship, that care, that responsivity, seeing the plant as an equal, all of these things, care, responsivity, equality, love, they are all part of compassion. I think there's an element of humility that comes into that, which I would equally think falls within that realm of compassion. So I'd say that's the key ingredient, for me at least. A sense of compassion allows one to feel their inner wairua more powerfully. And I also think it allows one to sense the inner wairua in another being much more powerfully as well.
Within your cultural worldview, does separation even exist? Or is everything interconnected if it all shares the same essence?
Well, I think everything, conceptually, everything is interconnected. We all come from the same spiritual realm. We all go back to that spiritual realm. We're all connected in a spiritual but also physical sense. So culturally, that's our belief system. Of course, we live in a colonised reality here in New Zealand, where we've had other beliefs and understandings imposed. I say that because that colours the way we interact in our world. There are those, what some may call pragmatic aspects. We have to work to get money, to buy food, to, buy a house. So the lived reality doesn't always feel like there's a sense of connection, but certainly from an inherent belief perspective, everything, absolutely everything is connected. In fact, we say in our culture that humans are the youngest sibling of all else in creation. And because we're the youngest sibling, we're sort of bound by a sense of respect for our older siblings, who are the plants, the animals, pretty much everything else that exists under the cosmos or within the cosmos. So that's our belief system, that everything is fundamentally, inherently connected, and that we were bound by obligation to respect everything else in the natural world.
What do you think we need to learn from nature right now?
Oh, gee. When I look out my window at the trees, the paddocks, the animals, we've got a mountain range close to us and some foothills, and the foothills have been farmed for pine trees. Then they harvest them, which makes a complete mess of the foothills. But give it another 10 years, the pine will be growing. In between the pine will be all these native trees, and it will be thriving with bird life up there. And what that tells me is that nature is very tolerant and very forgiving. The air we breathe, the freshness of the air, the scenery, it still keeps giving in spite of our naivety. And I think our naivety comes about because we've forgotten that we're the younger siblings. We've forgotten to show respect. We've forgotten that we are just a part of the environment, not the dominator of it. It keeps on giving in spite of our ignorance or even arrogance. The thing to remember is that we're actually connected to nature. What we're doing out there ultimately is going to have an effect on who we are and our well-being. Our well-being, our survival depends on the wellness of the natural world. And I think we've really forgotten that deep connection that we have. We've got a saying in Māori culture that says, man may disappear, but the land remains. That's a reminder to us that we can't outrun nature. In spite of everything, nature's going to continue and thrive.
So the real forgetting is forgetting that we are a part of nature.
We're quite lucky here in New Zealand. We have space. I would say just going out and being in the natural world is such a healer. Sitting at a park, sitting on the grass, allowing your feet and your hands to touch and feel the energy of the earth. We believe in Māori culture that's our mother, the earth mother. Go outside, turn off the phone and lie in the grass and look up and feel that sense of awe, which I think many people feel. If you have the ability to go and walk in a forest, do that, touch a tree. I think all of these things allow space for that energetic connection to be reignited. And by energetic, I mean the wairua to wairua connection can be reignited just by taking time to go out into the natural world.
What's one simple way someone can reconnect?
I think even if people take the time to just have one plant in their life that they dedicate care and attention to, and just watching that one plant thrive and give, I think there's so much to learn or can be taught by that connection and that relationship.
From all that you've lived and come to see, what feels most true that you would want to leave humanity?
We are connected to each other in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. That's the key point. We are all connected. We are also unlimited. We are unlimited in our potential. I think that's the second very important point.
Thank you, Natasha, for your presence, your wisdom, and for gently guiding us back to something that has always been here. Before we part, I invite you into a simple practice, something you can return to each day. If you can, find a single living plant, one you can come back to again and again. Let it become familiar, and when you're with it, slow down, take a breath, and really look. Not quickly, but with your full attention. And now, before you think plants, before any words arise, just notice what is happening. You are seeing color, shape, life appearing. And here is something subtle. That plant only exists for you as it is, experienced right here. And in that same moment, your thoughts, your body, your sense of me are also appearing in the same space of knowing. So ask gently, is the plant happening somewhere else? Or is it appearing in the same space as everything you experience? Take your time, look closely. Is there truly two places, or just one undivided space where everything appears? Like waves rising from the same ocean, each has a shape, a beginning, and an end. And so it looks separate, but every wave is made of the same water. It never leaves the ocean. In the same way, you and the plants may look separate, but both are appearing in the same space of knowing in different forms. Stay with that for a few breaths. And now, let the plant show you something. It does not stand apart from what sustains it. It turns toward the light, draws from the soil, takes in water. It cannot exist on its own. No effort, just life happening as it. And notice, the same life is here too. Appearing as you, appearing as a plant, appearing as this moment, not divided, just unfolding. Rests there. Nothing to add, nothing to become. And from here, notice what begins to open. If you are not separate, where do you actually end? Are you only this body, or are you also the air you are breathing, the ground supporting you, the life you rely on to be here? Stay with that, not as an idea, but as something you can feel. And if it feels natural, you can carry this with you. Same life, not separate. Return to your plan each day, even briefly. Let it remind you, not through ideas, but through direct experience, what has always been true. Take one final breath in and release it fully. And as you go, may you begin to notice in every moment that you are not separate from the living world around you, but inseparable from it. Until next time, remain held in belonging.